Hi, it's that fantasy chick back again with another stream. Um, and I have a lot to talk about this week. We're talking about Blade, what happened with Blade, Titans, of course, The Flash, and we're going to start off talking with Blade and how the writers strike, the WGA writers strike, the Writers Guild of America writer strike is affecting Blade. So, of course, I have an article. Okay. So, Marvel hits pause on Blade due to writer strike. The studio, whose creative process involves rewrites and experimentation on set, is still gearing up to shoot Deadpool 3 and Thunderbolts in the coming weeks. The writer's strike has taken a bite out of Blade. Marvel Studios is shutting down pre production on its vampire thriller starring Mahershala Ali, which was set to begin filming next month in Atlanta. The feature project, which has been paused once before, becomes the first tentpole movie impacted by the strike. Cast and crew members are being notified this afternoon. That was May 5th. Blade has recently hired True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto to work on the script, but according to an insider, time simply ran out. The studio will restart the production once the strike is over. Since the strike action began Tuesday, the biggest impact has been on late night talk shows. Okay, I want to skip that. While some studios have one or two movies going into production, Marvel is seemingly propping up the industry by planning on having three movies shooting at the same time, not to mention two series. Even with the Blade shutdown, it is gearing up for one of the busiest times in the company's history. Captain America New World Order is currently filming in Atlanta. TV show Agatha Coven of Chaos is also shooting in Atlanta, while fellow series Wonder Man is filming in Los Angeles. Deadpool 3 is expected to go in front of cameras later this month in London, while Thunderbolts is to hit Atlanta in June. As of now, Thunderbolts is still on track. Fantastic Four, which is in the midst of the most closely watched casting search since Marvel hired Tom Holland to play Spider Man 8 years ago, is eyeing a January 2024 start date in London. That could change if the strike were to drag on and on for 6 months. I hope not. I don't think so. Though according to sources, that is seen as unlikely. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Smoke is coming up from my neighbor's apartment and choking me. Oh, I really wish, I really, really wish they wouldn't smoke like that. Mm, the writer's strike got everything shut down. Yes. Shutting everything down. Shutting everything down. But that's what happens because, I mean, at the basically the foundation of everything is the script. Without the script, you can't shoot anything. Without the writers, you don't have no script. Yes, Blade will restart after the strike, but Blade is going to Blade stopped their pre-production. They will restart after the strike, but for now, because they wanted another script, they can't go forward until the strike is over. So they were going to start shooting next month. I guess they were going to be writing as they were shooting, but they can't do that now because of the strike. I know that I forget who, someone stepped down as the host of the MTV Movie Awards in solidarity with the Writers Guild. The last time there was a strike, and it always happens at the end, I guess that's when negotiations happens, but it usually happens towards the end of the season, because this happened, the last strike that I remember was way back in 2007, and it happened towards the end of the season as well, when episodes were, but this, or did it happen at the end of the season? No, it didn't happen at the end of the season. It dragged on until towards the end of the season. It dragged on for a lot longer than they expected it to last. And that really brought in the boom of the reality. That brought in the reality boom, because they started relying on reality shows, because supposedly, because it was reality, there was no writers. So they could put on reality shows to prompt, once they ran out of episodes, of new episodes of their shows, because they only had so many shows written, so they can only shoot so many shows. So once they ran out of shows, then they started pumping out these reality shows. The truth of the matter is, reality shows are written as well. They just call them producers. They don't call them writers. Yeah. They're negotiating about, I think this is negotiating streaming. Like I said, the last time the contract was negotiated that I remember, the contract being negotiated was 2007, and streaming wasn't as big of a deal back then. It wasn't as big of a deal. So they have to, I think back then the thing was like new media they were starting to bring in new media. But now it's really about streaming and how writers should get paid for streaming. So other what do you call it? Other guilds, other unions are going to be negotiating their contracts as well in the future, in the near future, and they'll probably be dealing with the same exact issues with streaming. So so everybody's watching this to see what happens. So a lot of actors are standing in solidarity with the writers, because A, they need the writers, so the writers would just write them out. But B, their contract is up for renegotiation too, as well. Yeah, the last one lasted a while too. It's whenever it's when you have some new media on the table and they have to figure out how people are going to get paid behind it. It usually, the back and forth is brutal. It was brutal in 2007, and I think it's going to be brutal this time too, because the WGA posted they actually posted the two different offers, the WGA's offer and the counter offer from the producers, and it wasn't pretty. So so yeah, it's going to be brutal, but in the end, I don't understand why they hold out, because in the end they're going to give them, you're going to have to give them what you want. You need writers. You need writers. You can't do anything without the writers. You can't do anything without a script. The whole industry can't just be reality. So yeah. So oh yeah, that's what is going on with Blade and the writer's strike. And you know, it's the, like they said, it's the first production to be affected by the writer's strike, but it will not be the last. Um, because I think TV should be safe, because we are in May, which means TV is pretty much finished. TV pretty much finished shooting in April. Oh, network TV. Network TV finishes shooting in April. And so if you're on a network, all your episodes are pretty much done by now. And it's just the other, like if you're shooting cable or streamer and you're in the midst of shooting, then you're going to be in trouble after a while. So those you only have so many episodes, because they only write a few episodes ahead of what they shoot. So like they probably only have so many episodes written. So eventually they'll run out of episodes and then they'll be in trouble. So so yeah. Eventually you're going to start seeing television productions start shutting down one by one. I mean, the streaming and cable start shutting down. Yes, yes, but at least you get to see it. Okay. So The Flash. Okay, so as much as I have been on them about being filler episodes and not having an arc, they started a story arc last week. It's a new story arc, because the name of the episode was A Whole New World Part 1. So it's a brand new story arc, and I think this story arc is going to carry until the end. There's only 3 more episodes after this one. So this story arc is going to carry to the end. So it's pretty much, this is all an extended finale. I think they're counting this as like a 4-part finale. So so the episode starts with everybody pretty much letting us know that there was a jump in time. They jumped 9 months in time from the last time we saw Oliver, Green Arrow, and they dealt with that villain. I think his name was Bloodwork or something like that. But the last time we saw they dealt with that guy, it's jumped 9 months ahead. So Iris is 9 months pregnant. Barry is speeding around the house, baby proofing the apartment, but he's putting speed dampeners around the apartment to keep the baby from accidentally using their speed inside the apartment. And my thing is, what happens when you leave the apartment? The baby is still going to have speed. Like, what happened? Are you going to put speed dampeners in the daycare center too? So maybe they'll put a speed dampener bracelet on her by the time she goes to daycare. Who knows? But so while he's in the midst of putting the speed dampeners around the apartment, he disappears and he ends up in the past in year 2000. You know, makes me think of Conan O'Brien in the year 2000. And used to do this thing in the year 2000, whatever. It was a skit that Conan O'Brien used to do. It was kind of funny, but it's old. So in the year 2000, on the day that his mother died. So when he realizes what day that, when he realizes what year he's in, he goes in search of Joe, and he sees that, of course, he's still a beat cop. He tries to get him the address of some scientist the only scientist who can help him figure out why he's here and how he can get back, because he tried to use his speed to create a time vortex to go back, but the time vortex would not open up. So he's basically stuck. So he wanted to get in contact with some scientists who could help him figure out how to get back to 2023. And but while he's talking to Joe, he realizes that this is the day that his mother dies. So he leaves and he ends up running smack dab into his parents, because of course he does. And he ends, we all know it was the Reverse Flash, but he ends up getting knocked out in the street, and the car almost hits him, and his father stops the car and they take him to the hospital. And I didn't realize his father was a doctor. How did I not know that? I had no idea his father was a doctor. I had no idea what his parents did. I guess because his father was in jail the whole time I knew him. I had no idea his father was a doctor. But anyway, his father was a doctor and treated him in the hospital, and the mother was there. And, they're asking him his name, and he gives them the name Bart, being cute. Eventually, like, he goes out and I think he has lunch or something with them, but he spends the day with them and gets to know them. Well, not gets to know them. He already knows them. They're his parents, but he spends the day with them, and talks with them, and blah 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 blah. And so at some point he sees the Reverse Flash, and he thinks it's the Reverse Flash that has brought him back into the past. So he confronts him, and he realizes the Reverse Flash has no idea what's going on. So he thinks he's like, he's the original Reverse Flash before he's wiped out of existence. And so he's just there to kill his mom and, go on go on with the timeline until he's wiped out of existence. So, so Barry is very careful not to tell him what really happens, because he's there to try to kill Barry as a child, because of course he is. And This episode was pretty good. Yes, this episode was good. A lot of people like this episode. A lot of people, when I saw people rating this episode was rated pretty high. I saw on IMDb, I think they was rating it 9 out of 10. Yes, when I saw the CD player, I was like, oh, that tells you that we are definitely in the past. Yeah, he was baby proof in the apartment. Mm. Well, I guess it probably felt that way because they were cutting between the different storylines, because they was cutting between Barry's storyline, and then they cut back to, I guess, Keon, and also what really what's his name? Why can't I remember? Chester and the other girl. Why can't I think of their names? But they were more in the beginning. They were more in the beginning. But it's sort of, I feel like it did sort of flip back and forth between them. But I guess that was to show you that they were really good people. And also because they felt a connection to him, because when he was in the street, when he was knocked out in the street, she was like, either he looks like my father, he looks like my grandfather. So she felt a connection to him because he looked exactly like her father or grandfather. So because of that, she felt like, okay, I have to take care of this boy because of this strange connection I have with him. There's a reason why this person who's like a doppelganger of my relative just fell out in the street in front of me. So I think that explains why she was hell bent on it, and he just probably went along with it because he's the husband and he just goes along with what his wife wants. Allegra, yes. That's her name. Her name is Allegra. Yes. I forget people's names. And I watch the show every week. And I still forget names. I can sit up, I can watch a movie 2.5 hours. The movie ends and I won't remember a single person's name in the movie, because that's just how I am. I forget people's names. I go by their real names because I'm like, I don't I don't know. So he bonds with his parents. It's really nice. But then he runs off and he confronts Reverse Flash, and then I forget how it goes from the Reverse Flash to, and oh goodness, I reverse how it goes to um Joe ends up I forget what's the it's the scene, either the scene of the accident or the scene of the crime or whatever. um I think it's the scene of Barry's accident, I think. And Joe is there, and Joe picks up this little blue stone. And when he sees it, his eyes go blue. And you're like, okay, now Joe is possessed. So the next time Barry sees Joe, and Joe starts speaking to him in this other voice, and you find out it's the negative speed force. So So he's all pissed at Barry because they killed his avatar and blah 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 blah. So it was the negative speed force that brought Barry to the year 2000. Um, why? I don't know. Was he trying to get him killed? I guess the Avatar was trying to kill him, but Barry overpowers him and forces him out of Joe's body. But he forces him out of Joe's body. He puts Joe back in his car before Joe wakes up. He at some point goes back because he had ran off from his parents. He goes back and he talks to his parents again. And eventually he goes and he talks to Reverse Flash. He's like, I'm giving you a chance to save yourself, you know, here to save you. And he's like, I don't believe you. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. You're just trying to fool me. So he goes in, and I forget he goes in, the scene starts playing out, you know, of the scene of his mother's death begins to play out. And it's Barry chasing Reverse Flash around the room in the multiple speeds, and Barry, you know, there's another Barry there from another timeline. So Barry tells that other Barry, you know, just, you know, hold off. I'm here. I'll take care of it. Like he just gestures at him like I got it. So he goes, he speeds in, speeds off, speeds Barry out of the place. Then the Reverse Flash kills Barry's mom, and then as he's running off down the street, he loses all of his power. You know, he loses all of his speed, and then he finds out he's trapped, and like curses foiled again. And so Barry was like, I told your ass, I told you not to do this. But did you listen to me? No. So, but the worst part was Barry was like, you know what? I thank you for today because I came back today. You know, this day has always shaped me and shaped who I was, and you know, has always been this thing that hung over my life for, you know, all for the whole of my life. This day hung over my life. But because of today, I was able to make peace with that. And I thank you for that. And and because of that, so the moment Barry says, I thank you for that, he of course is he disappears from that timeline. And Reverse Flash is in pain, like, no. Sad, because like, not only did he not kill Barry, he ends up helping him of all things. So, but so at first I was thinking, because Barry, you know, did that whole I made peace with this day, he was taken back to his original timeline. But because of the promos of next week, they're still looking for Barry. So he doesn't go back to his original timeline. So we have no idea where Barry goes. So the negative speed force must be taking him somewhere else, and is going to try again next week. And now Team Flash is looking for him. That was the ending. It was a good, well, it's a good episode to start because it's the beginning of a new storyline. And like I said, it was a time jump. So it's the start of a new storyline. It's jumped 9 months into the future. So it's not like it's picking up after something that happened last week. So it's almost like it's brand new. Yes. Joe pick up yes. When he you talking about when he was forcing the the forcing the negative speed force out of Joe's body. I'm pretty sure it was lightning. The Flash does have the power to make lightning, and that comes out of his hands. He can make lightning. So I'm pretty sure it was something like that, some sort of lightning, some sort of electrical thing, and he could have done that. Waved himself off his fire. Verse 5 was so mad at Perry thanking him. He was pissed. He was so pissed. It was hilarious. I laughed so hard. Yeah, he can build, like, he can build up speed, and normally when he shoots it, he's running and he goes bam and shoots it like that, but it still can come out of his hand, his arms, his body or whatnot, but he can shoot lightning. He can make lightning happen or whatnot. um so I feel like, and it usually happens like that, and it usually looks like that. So that's what it feels like that was to me. It was a spark to his positive spark to get the negative force out of Joe's body. But yeah, so we have to wait till next week to see where Barry ends up. Where's Barry? Um yeah, so I don't know why they decided to book in the series with storyline at the beginning, storyline at the end, filler in the between. I don't know why, but this is what they're doing. And but whatever, maybe they decided we only got 4 good episodes. So these last 4, this is it. This is it. We're gonna make these last 4 episodes and just go out on the bang. So when the show 5 ads every 5 minutes. Uh Hilarious. Okay. Okay, so that's it with the Flash. On to Titans. Okay. So Connor. So Connor tried and Connor failed. And he's still in Brother Blood's ear, just trying to talk him up, like, oh, it's your mom. Your mom is the one who took your powers. Your mom is this. Your mom is that. You need to kill your mom. You need to kill your mom, your mom, your mom, your mom, your mom. So he's still trying. Um, but he manages he manages to convince him that he should not blow the horn of Trigon and that he should get rid of his mother. And so while all of that's going on and everybody's trying to figure out exactly where Connor and Brother Blood are and what they're up to, what is going on? I feel like there's a lot of little side quests. Dick, for some reason, sends the new Robin back to Gotham to tell him he needs to find this dude named Venza. But in the end, he finds Red Hood, which is the old Robin, the Robin I couldn't stand, and I was happy when he died. I couldn't stand that Robin. But so this Robin takes him in, and they start sparring. He starts giving him pointers and blah 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 on fighting, and then the next thing you know, this Robin, he has some sort of heist or something that he has to go do, and he tells Robin to suit up, like he's gonna take him with him. So he suits up, puts on his little Robin outfit with the little Robin cape. It's kind of cute. And these, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people come in. It was a lot of people. I don't know. It was a lot of people. It was either 4 or 5 people come in, and poor little Robin has to fight all of them by himself. His little stick gets knocked out of his hand right away, so he has to use whatever he can just grab his hand on. And when it's over, then Red Hood comes in and was like, "Hey, you owe me a new computer," because he used Red Hood's computer to knock somebody out. But basically, letting him know that he let him take on all those people on purpose. He let them find him on purpose. He let them take him on purpose because he needed the practice. You learn by doing, not by being coddled. Whatever. So Red Hood training the new Robin with some heat. I can't front. I guess so. I think he did well for himself. They had to make it realistic, whereas he was like, to make it look like, he couldn't look too good, but he had to just barely win. And he just barely won. But he had been training for weeks and weeks and weeks. He had to have some fight in him. And he's from Gotham. I'm like, anybody from Gotham ought to be able to fight. If you're from Gotham and you don't know how to fight, you're kind of useless. So he sends him off with his with a new bike, and Timothy does not question, why is the Red Hood giving me a bike? Like it doesn't occur to him that this whole thing was a setup from Dick, because of course the bike comes from Dick, and of course it was a setup from Dick. I figured I figured the whole time, the moment we saw Red Hood, I knew Red Hood was Venta. And especially like, you know, uh with everything that was going on, but like when it ended with him giving him the bike, I was like, yes, this was who he was supposed to see, because he didn't just give him this bike. It was Dick. You rely too much on your toys after using a gun. Yes. No, no. Venta was just something that they set up for him. Was a wild goose chase. It was always Red Hood. Venta was never a thing. It was always the Red Hood. But he couldn't have him going around looking for the Red Hood, or he didn't want him to know what he was going there for. He wanted him to go look, go in search of one thing, so that way this last little bit of training will be more authentic, I guess, because it'll be more of a surprise, more of a, catch you off your feet type deal. That's what they were looking to do, because if he would have went there preparing to train, it wouldn't be the same as going there looking for somebody and then all of a sudden now you got to fight for your life. And that's what he wants to do, fight for your life. So Starfire um, tracks down where Connor was going, and she basically tracks down Mercy Graves, and then everybody else tracks down where Starfire was going to, and so they all end up in the same place. And they realized that Lex Luthor had built a weapon that would use Starfire's power and he would use that weapon to destroy Brother Blood. So they're like, okay, we can go get this weapon. And this way, Starfire won't, because basically if Starfire uses all of her, she would have to use all of her power, like 100% of her power just to kill Brother Blood. And if she does that, she's going to die. And they were like, if we can just use this thing that Lex built, then Starfire can survive. So they go to find the little Starfire bomb or whatever. And of course, and Connor meets them there, and he meets them with his Superboy shirt on. you know, uh, with his Superboy shirt on, he was meek and mild. Like I tried to do it. I tried to do it by myself. I wanted to prove I could do it by myself, but I failed. Oh, I was like, see, that's what you get. Trying to go off on your own. Oh, okay. Bernard he's not a hero. He's just somebody who works in the lab, and he's somebody who usually, he, how they have the smart lab person who can um, work on weapons and work on can give them work on their suits and make sure their suits are, you know, work on their super suits, work on their weapons, do stuff for them, blah 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 blah. Science labby stuff. So that's what Bernard was. So Bernard was that, and on the side, him and Tim started a little thing. Yes, Superboy. Yes, and he came in. Oh my goodness. Came in just sad puppy dog eyes, apologizing because he failed like I knew he would. There was no way a show called Titans was going to allow Connor to I guess it would be meta for Connor to realize there's no way for you to win this all on your own. You have to do this as a team. You can't do this all on your own. You have to win this as a team. So, your little proof, you just made it worse. You just made everything worse. He made everything worse. But he tried, and unfortunately he died. So he didn't even get a chance to meet Superman. But they got to the Starfire bomb, and they realized Starfire had to charge it up, and the more power she put in it, the more unstable it became, and it got before it got to 100%, Dick shut everything off because he was like, it was getting too dangerous. You could have died. Blah 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 blah. So of course, because they don't charge the thing up to 100%, it doesn't work. Brother Blood. And I think part of the reason why it also didn't work is because Brother Blood had just killed his mother and had took on all of her magic. And I think that made him even harder to defeat. So, maybe before he killed her, but then they would have had to deal with her too. So it's a good thing he killed her. But now they have to try to deal with him and Trigon because the nigga just blew the horn of Trigon. So I don't know why he decided to blow the horn of Trigon. People kept telling him, if you blow this horn of Trigon, when Trigon comes, you're gonna be nothing. It's gonna kill you, or he's gonna kill you, or you're gonna be wiped to dust, or whatever. Maybe he thinks he's powerful enough to go up against Trigon because he's me Klaus. He thinks he's all that. But yes, in the previous episode, Connor definitely let them in. He basically, when they were trying to destroy, I'm about to call him Niklaus, when they was about to destroy Brother Blood's app, and they were looking for a back door so they can go in and delete it, he let them in the back door. Digitally speaking, he let them in so they can come in and destroy the game. He allowed them to come in and destroy the game. He let them pass the firewall so they can come in and destroy the game. So that lets you know when he did that he was on their side. And also when he tried to destroy the horn of Trigon. But truly when he was letting them in and allowed them to destroy the app, that lets you know that he was on their side. He was just, working his angle. Here's why I think he's died. Here's why I think he's dead. Because he's sitting there with his eyes wide open. Whenever they do that, like, because his eyes were wide open. And if he would have been not if his eyes would have been closed, it would have been he was knocked out. But he's underneath all that rubble with his eyes wide open and like that, doing that death stare. And whenever you have them like that with that death stare, they're dead. That means death. Maybe, but I knew it didn't work when he threw it at him because he just thought, oh, it knocked him out. I'm like, if it would have worked, he would have disappeared like the mother disappeared. Like when he killed the mother, she completely disappeared. So if it would have worked with him, he should have completely disappeared too. Now Connor is supposed to be super smart, and he didn't realize this. Yes. That that girl, okay, she's actually his ex-girlfriend whom Mother Mayhem somehow made into a disciple. So she's somebody who before he was Brother Blood or whatnot, back in his previous, life when he was this meek and mild guy, he broke up with her because he was afraid she was going to break up with him. It was so stupid. He basically broke up with her to keep her from breaking up with him. It was this stupid incelish behavior. Um, but she somehow became this, like, they had this episode where they showed all of these flashbacks in his life and all the people who appeared in the flashback, her, I think a professor, I think somebody else, they ended up becoming disciples, and like they were there when he did the ceremony to become Brother Blood. Yes, he had the dead eyes. His eyes were open, and they were open, and they had the dead stare, the dead eye stare. He had the dead eye stare. Um, that's why I'm like, Connor tried and Connor died. So he didn't even get a chance to meet Superman. All he met was Lex. But yeah, sad. So so Brother Blood kills Superboy, and he blows the horn of Trigon. And of course, the Titans realize he's blowing the horn of Trigon, and Starfire's like, okay, now we do it my way, which means now she has to be the one to kill him with all her power, which means she's going to die. And nobody wants to see that happen, but it's either that or the end of the world. So, next episode is the very last episode because I think it's episode 12. And it was only 6 more episodes. So I think next episode is the very last episode. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost over. Titans is good. Titans is good. Um, I like Titans. That's why I watch it. Which is probably, like I said, that I had that one episode where they had the Doom Patrol. I was like, I'm probably gonna have to sit down and watch Doom Patrol because there was a bunch of stuff that went over my head that I did not understand and probably would have understand better if I had watched Doom Patrol. But I'm gonna watch Doom Patrol eventually. I think so. I think it's good. I think it's good. Um, because they have a Batman, so you get to see they actually bring a Batman on the show, so you get to see a Batman. Um, they they have a bunch of yeah, I think so. It's good. Um, they go through a lot through these different seasons. Each season is something different. Oh, I think they have a dead shot. They do a lot. So yeah, Titans is good. Titans is worth going back and rewatching. Um, it's worth rewatching. And I can't remember. I think it's I think it's Deadshot. I can't remember the name, but whatever his name, he's played by Isai Morales, and he's good. Superman and Lois comes on Tuesdays. They come on Tuesdays, so you should be able to watch them on the app on Wednesdays. So, but yeah, I really wonder how because this is not only the last episode, it's the last episode. So I'm wondering, did they know it was the last episode when they shot it? Will we get a nice little series finale episode, tie everything up with a bow at the end? This is what I'm hoping happens. That they give us at least 10, 15 minutes at the end to finish the series off properly. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm just hoping that we get because it's the last episode. I'm hoping that we get a that they knew that there was a possibility that the show would not come back and that they gave us a nice, series finale ending, kind of like what Sherlock did at the end of the season 3. They pretty much wrapped that show up in a bow and never came back after the third season. Um, so that's what I'm hoping they did with this season finale. So canceled rushed finales. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not because Titans is good. Titans is good, and their finales are good too. They usually do well. So I'm hoping that they just continue to do that. They do a good job, and I don't think it's going to be rushed and bad. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. So okay, so that is all for today. We'll be back Wednesday with another episode of Superman and Lois. And yeah. I usually watch maybe the first few minutes of Gotham Knights to see if it's worth watching, just to see where they are in the series, to see how close they are to you know putting everything together. But yeah, just the first 5 minutes. That's all I get. That's all I watch. But yeah, so Wednesday, Superman and Lois. But Gotham Knights, no. I'm not doing Gotham Knights. No. No, no, no. I'm just doing Superman and Lois. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.